Here's the head of Matchroom, Eddie Hearn. It's been so long since we talked to him, and he's joining us via the car. Wow, this is a rare move, Eddie. You couldn't be bothered to go into a room, a studio, anything like that.
Listen, this is a show of appreciation, Ariel.
Oh, thank you.
You honestly think that having been at Wembley the entire day, that I would just like choose to randomly pull over for 20 minutes to have a conversation with you on some side street? This is called dedication, appreciation for your show. And we've had a great day, as you said, Riyadh season, coming to London, which is, strange in itself, but it's a privilege to be involved in a massive card. And of course, AJ, an opportunity to become a three-time world champion.
Okay, well, first off, to your earlier point, do appreciate it. I'm sure you were sort of cursing out me and Fred for booking this after a long day. You're like, for fuck's sake, why do I have to talk to this guy? So thank you. I appreciate it.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
Quite painful.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I have an issue that I'd like to bring up to you. So I went on a bit of a rant at the beginning of the show, and I don't want to hide from it. I love this fight. I love Daniel Dubois, and I love the fact that people are counting him out after he lost to Joe Joyce in this sort of like reclamation project that he's been on, and as of late, he's looked great. I have great affinity for AJ, despite the fact that you were trying to create a wedge between us with the whole Francis thing. I love what he's been doing. I think the IBF thing is kind of silly. I think that we were told for months that it was going to be an undisputed fight. We're getting a rematch to take that belt away. This fight doesn't need that belt. This fight doesn't need it, in my opinion.
No, well, it does for us, but this is where your lack of knowledge.
Oh, here we go.
Of the boxing industry. No, but I don't mean that in a condescending way, because people fight and getting themselves in a position for a mandatory title, right? So the thing is, I really get your argument, but the problem is you can't ignore when mandatories are due. And if you have a fighter that has been working away, winning eliminators after eliminators, waiting once, then being asked to wait twice. So the IBF position, we all knew going into the Hrgovic-Dubois fight that the winner of that fight must fight Usyk next with no exceptions. This isn't like a new rule that's just been sprung on people. And I get that sometimes people in boxing can sometimes think, it doesn't make sense. But actually, the IBF do a stellar job in enforcing mandatories. They've fought for the undisputed title. Of course, in an ideal world, you'd have one champion in every division. But the mandatory has been overdue now for probably close to a year. Daniel Dubois won that fight. When he won that fight, he knew that he would be interim champion and Alexander Usyk would have to fight him next or vacate the title. So, there has to be rules. And sometimes the problem in boxing is there aren't always rules. This is actually an occasion where the governing body have followed the rules and thus the title become vacant. I don't like that. Well, the fact that Daniel Dubois has been elevated to world champion, I don't actually like that. However, in the rules, an interim champion is immediately elevated once a title becomes vacant, right? But I like it for AJ because I want him to be a champion. All of his other belts have been won off champions. So I get your point. I refuse to acknowledge it, of course. But on this occasion, the IBF have... Oh, don't get upset, Ariel.
No, I'm not upset. I'm listening to what do you mean?
That was a sarcastic comment. You're supposed to get a little smile from you.
No,
you didn't look very happy. Anyway, no, they're following their rules, which I think is important. But I do get your point.
Can I respond with this? Just because that's the way it's always been, it doesn't mean it's the right move now. There's a lot of things in boxing that we're seeing now that are evolving, right? These mega cards, we're seeing you and Frank. Heck, we're seeing you and Ben Shalom in the ring together. These things never could have happened a year ago. So why do things that were the way? I'll have to say, I think, can I just be I feel comfortable being able to say this stuff to you. The press conferences are dreadful. They're absolutely dreadful. The boxing community needs to update these. And so just because this is the way things are being done or were done doesn't mean it should be done now. The Usyk Fury fight doesn't feel as big on December 21st because it's not for the undisputed belt.
No, I disagree on that. But what would you change about the press conferences?
Oh, they're absolutely dreadful. The long talking at the beginning, going down the line, the fact that AJ is the last person to speak, he's the star of the show. He's the A-side. He should be the first person to speak. I don't want to hear from Spencer and from the coaches and from all these people before we get to the main guys. Get right into it. Boom, 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 boom. Let the media ask questions. That's how you get the good stuff going. Have some energy. Have some fans there. It needs to be updated. And I'm saying this out of a place of love. I love
agree.
this stuff.
I agree. I actually had the conversation about an hour ago that things need to freshen up on a number of different areas.
They're too long. Can I say this? I personally don't think that you should be the one asking them questions as the promoter. I think someone else should be asking. That's a tough spot for you to be in when you're asking like non-Matchroom fighters questions and stuff like that.
It really is a rare talent.
No, you're fantastic at it. You're fantastic.
I don't mean, I'm very humble, but I think that I'm one of the few people that can do it. I do agree with you, but for me, I'm the person telling the story. It's my show. I'm selling it to you. So I like the idea of the fans asking questions, media asking questions from the floor. I think that's something that we're definitely going to work with. But I also like your concept of going straight to the nitty gritty.
Right to it.
Because sometimes when I'm leading the press conference, I'm going through every fight on the undercard, and then you're right. Eventually, we get to the main event. So,
you could take that one.
Taken on board,
free of charge.
I mean, I thought this was an interview. I didn't know it would be a sort of consultancy. Are you charging me for this as well?
No.
I mean,
I love it. I watch all of it.
I just feel that next, Bam against Sonny tomorrow. Bam against Estrada fight tomorrow as we head off to Phoenix. I'm going to change his press conference around. You're going to come all across social media claiming that you've completely changed the face of boxing promotion.
What are we doing?
And send me an invoice.
No. But are you going to change it? Why don't you do this? Start it off.
I will.
Okay, you're going to start with them and then open it to the press.
Well, do you know what I do in America, which is a bit different?
Okay.
I have a couple of press conferences. So I'll have an undercard press conference.
Like it.
And then we'll go in. One of the problems was today, it was all one. So, yeah. But I don't think there's a proven formula, but we have to keep evolving. So, thank you.
No problem. No, I think that's very important. And to that point, taking the belt away from the undisputed champion, just to say that there's a title fight. And I hope you understand the fight is great. In fact, I would like to be there. I would like to be at Wembley. If you could put in a good word with the good folks at DAZN, I would like to be at my first Wembley show. I think this fight is so great, it doesn't need a title. That's what I'm trying to say. It's that great. It's an unbelievable compliment that I'm paying to the fight.
But just so you know, this wasn't a group of people working together to get a title on the line. It was just that the rules basically meant that Dubois would become champion if Usyk didn't fight him. So, that's important to know as well. Rules have been followed rather than a manufactured belt. That's not the case.
Fair enough. And I appreciate that. Could I ask, how many people do you expect? How many people? Is it like
100,000?
Wow, 100,000, legit.
I mean, this is our fourth show. Obviously, this is a Riyadh season event, but this is the fourth time we've been involved promotionally in a show at Wembley. We did Froch Groves, was the first ever one, 80,000. Joshua Klitschko, 90,000. 80,000 for Povetkin Joshua. And now I'm expecting His Excellency to push for 100,000 for Wembley. I mean, the card is unbelievable. There's fights on that card that would headline a main event on their own. And it's just 5 brilliant fights. Joshua Dubois sells it out anyway. On its own, that His Excellency has got plans for music acts, etc. I mean, we've got Riyadh season Los Angeles coming up August 3rd. We've got Eminem,
crazy,
right, performing like 3 or 4 tracks. So when he said to me that I'm going to bring Riyadh season to Wembley, I was like, what do you mean? I mean, Riyadh season is in Riyadh, and he stuck to his word. And what he's produced is an incredible moment. I mean, He's a massive boxing fan, and the events in Riyadh are incredible. But I will say, he will stand around September 21st and look around him and think to himself, wow, because I've done it before, and it's just the most incredible spectacle.
Was there any talk of Lee Wood, Josh Warrington on this card instead of Warrington Kakachi?
No, because Kakachi is with Frank Warren, and they wanted him to fight on this card. We did actually talk about Lee Wood, but one of the issues with Lee Wood is that Ben Davison is his trainer, and that fight is deep on the card, and Ben doesn't really want any other fights on that card with AJ being main event, which is quite standard practice. They like the Josh Warrington fight. He's got a massive following here, and to be fair, Josh has accepted 4 offers that I've given him for different fights that have all failed to materialize. So he's fighting to become a two-division, 3-time world champion. It's another great fight.
So over the weekend, we saw you and Ben in the ring together, and then I saw him on the dais today. So what's the dynamic been like between you two? I think this is the first time that he's involved in a Riyadh card.
Yeah, we've tried to make like 4 or 5. I think he had Martin Bacoli on before or something, but we tried to make 4 or 5 fights with Boxer in the past, and they haven't materialised. And we won that purse bid for Denny against Cash, and thankfully he kept him in the fight. They won at the weekend, and they hit the jackpot. Like, one fight on our show, the main event, and now then gets a massive offer to fight on Riyadh season. And I said to him the other day, you've got to roll the dice a little bit more. Don't worry about the fighters on this network and we're developing him. Let's just make the fights. Some you win, some you lose, but the opportunities. Look, Tyler Denny won. He's getting, 5, 6, 7 times what he made on Saturday. So good luck to him. And I think it's important. I think the great thing about these cards is that myself, Frank and George at Queensbury, and Spencer Brown, we put all these fights together, or give His Excellency all the options of what's available in the market. But we don't just put our fights in; we put loads of different fights in. And His Excellency is the creator and the director of these shows. And he doesn't have an affiliation with a promotional company. He couldn't care less who's with who. He just wants to make the best fights. And that's why you see on all these cards so many different promoters. Because he's not coming to me and saying, right, you put a card on. He's not saying to Frank, you put a card on. He's just saying to us three, like, tell me the great fights to make. And he gets a list, and he knows what he's talking about. I mean, he's very, very knowledgeable about the fights to make. And as you're seeing from these cards, August 3rd, September 21st, they're incredible.
Did you and Ben have a chance to speak, off camera in the arena, just to sort of break bread, so to speak?
No, just said after, I said, look, let's do more.
Yeah.
Like, you can win these fights, what I mean? Like, a lot of the fights that he's pulled out of in the past, they might have won.
Yeah.
And I just think, look, we've learned through the Queensbury relationship that the business is healthier, the sport is more intriguing, there are more opportunities for the fighters, the more everybody works together. So hopefully that will twist his arm to do more, because we've got loads of fights that we want to make with multiple promotional companies.
And so there was a fight on that card this past weekend that you ended up pulling because there was some sort of like betting irregularities that popped up. Mm-hmm. Could you tell me like how you caught wind of that and where that stands? What do you think happened? And have you ever had, have you ever been forced to do that before?
Yeah, no, honestly, that like in 15 years of promoting, I've never had this happen to me before. Never heard of it, never experienced it. And I was made aware probably at like 3, 4 p.m. on a Saturday that conversations had taken place for a fighter, no point beating around the bush, to effectively throw a fight.
Wow.
And I, obviously, again, first time I've ever had this. So I spoke to the Gambling Commission straight away, who will kind of tell you the market. Don't forget, it's like a pre-TV fight. There's no market for it anyway. It's all very strange, in all honesty. And they needed some time to look into it. Then I spoke to the British Boxing Board of Control, and then I decided to take it upon myself and speak to the people involved and get them in my room and look them in the eye and have a chat with them. The information that I received, I didn't like the sound of, and I pulled the fight.
Wow.
It now becomes a matter for the British Boxing Board of Control, who are now dealing with it, and the Gambling Commission, and they'll do their own investigation to show what was behind it. It definitely had substance. What the purpose of it, what the full details were of it, I guess that will come out. But we had like an hour to make a decision before the doors opened, and it was a pretty tough decision. But having spoken to various people involved, I wasn't comfortable to proceed with the fight.
About 10 or so days ago, we got this report that Turkey was trying to create this super league, right, and buy up all the promotions. And when I started digging around about it, I was told that perhaps at this press conference today, there would be some sort of response to this or more details revealed. To the best of my knowledge, this didn't come out today. And so could you tell me what you can say about this? Is there any legitimacy to these reports from reputable outlets, right? I mean, like SBJ here in America, I believe Reuters as well.
Yeah, I think firstly, obviously, there's a lot of those kind of conversations that are bound by confidentiality. I think the best thing to say is that some of what was reported had substance, some of what was reported didn't. I think that His Excellency's plans for the sport are incredibly exciting, incredibly ambitious, and also very smart. I think he sees a world where boxing can come together to make the best fights more consistently, which would be tremendous news for the sport and for fight fans. There's a lot of work that has to go into something like this. But if anyone's capable of doing it, I think it's His Excellency and Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I can't, how big my mouth is, but I think it would be unwise of me to comment too much. Only that I am open to all conversations that benefit the sport, the fighters, the fans, and our company.
For the right price, are you open to selling Matchroom?
I mean, look, we just did a recent investment deal, so we're never looking to sell. We will float the business, in the next 3 to 5 years. We're a family company, we've just recently, as I said, done an investment deal, which was very much against the grain for myself and my father. But we also understand we're expanding and growing at a rapid rate. And if there's, for me, it's not just about the money, it's about the strategy and it's about the opportunity and it's about the fun. If there's something, if there's an opportunity to create history and legacy in the sport and really change the face of it and have fun week in, week out, then, I'm all ears. But also love what we do. Look, last week we're in Birmingham and we had the press conference at Wembley today for a huge event in front of 100,000. I'm flying to Phoenix tomorrow for Bam against Estrada. Then I'm back for Johnny Fisher at the Copper Bosch, 8,000 in there. And then off to see Jaron Ennis, 15,000 at Philadelphia. So life is good. Business is great, but always open to evolve and look for opportunity.
The investment deal that you're talking about, could you tell us about that? Who was that with and what percentage of the company?
You can go online and look at it. It was a minority investment with a company called Pitch, or a big sports rights and marketing company. It was a partnership with equity for them, but also a strategic partnership for us to expand in different markets and regions. Obviously not just in the Middle East, but throughout Asia and across all our sports. Boxing, of course, but particularly darts, snooker as well. So, yeah, a strategic partnership that gave up a minority investment of equity in the business.
At the beginning of this interview, 20 minutes ago, you hit me with the you don't know anything about boxing, and now you just hit me with the you could go online and look. It's okay with us? Are we all right? That's two shots.
I feel like we're close enough to have those kind of conversations, Ariel. The fact that you told me that my press conferences are awful.
No, I said dreadful. Dreadful was the word.
Dreadful.
No, it wasn't just you, by the way. All of them. The Riyadh one.
Well, no, you're right. It's not me. Mine are much better than everybody else.
Yours are better than everyone. I've actually said your weigh-ins are the best in boxing, without a doubt.
Good.
And the press conferences are great. I just feel like if you're open to some suggestions, they could be even better to distance the gap.
We'll have a crack tomorrow.
Okay. Shakur Stevenson fights on July 6th. Is there a chance that his next fight will be under the Matchroom umbrella?
I think that Shakur Stevenson is pound for pound already top 5. I think he may be the best out of all of them. I think he beats Gervonta Davis. I really do. I think this kid is so special. I just don't know. He's like the problem is with Bob and Top Rank, right? Once he gets a sniff that you're not willing to lock up for him for 3 or 5 years, he just he dismisses you. So they're just not pushing Shakur Stevenson. And why should they, with all due respect? The guy's coming out and basically saying, after this fight, I'm off. So why are you going to really push him with the same kind of oomph that you would if you knew he was locked in, and passionate about your company? So I get it all. But I look at this kid, and I think this is a problem with American boxing. This is a young man, right, who talks well, looks good, he should be a national star. Like, he's a brilliant multi-division world champion. He may be the best at 135. But for some reason, and I don't get it, you gotta look at Jaron Ennis. People say, I think Jaron Ennis, again, pound for pound, top 5. And I'm like, this kid is a superstar. Like, and he doesn't sell. Jaron Ennis has got no profile. I signed the guy. We go to Wells Fargo in Philadelphia. We're going to do $15,000 for his defense there. No one tries. It's really weird what goes on over there. It's almost like they don't want them to become too big. I mean, look at Teofimo Lopez. He's fighting Steve Claggett. Is that even this weekend?
It is, yeah.
I don't know.
In Miami.
He's in front of about 3,000 in Miami. No one tries anymore. They just give up. Like, go to the hometown, book a big venue, push it, promote it, fill it up, And I don't know, it's just like, where can we go that's cheap? Where can we go that's low cost on production? Where can we go that we know we'll fill up? Like, look, when we went to Chase with Haney, 15,000 for the Prograis fight, 15,000 for Jaron Ennis, 10,000 this weekend. We're in Phoenix. We've got one guy from San Antonio, one guy from Hermosillo. I mean, you got to try and, people tune in and watch these things. If you're in a little arena with a couple of thousand people, how's that telling the audience that this kid's a superstar?
So back to the original, is there a chance he signs with you? Are you talking to him? Can you talk to him?
We're going to talk.
Okay.
For sure. Well, once he becomes available to talk, I would love a conversation with him. The business has to be right for everybody. He's on a good deal with Top Rank. But the problem is, when you're not pushing him, when you're not promoting him, don't expect to sell the tickets. Don't expect to hit the numbers. So it's got to work both ways.
Have you and Devin spoken offline? You had your comments last week. He had some comments as well. He's coming up in about 30 minutes, by the way. If there's anything you want me to relay, I'm happy to if you haven't spoken.
No, I haven't spoken since. I mean, I wasn't very... I'll always love Devin. I'm always going to have a place in my heart for him because we went on a great journey together and I like him. I think he's a very nice man. I think he's gone through a really tough period with all this and it's not his fault. I mean, he's unbelievably getting criticised when a guy took performance-enhancing drugs, had it in his system, won the fight. And I read some of the comments about Ryan. It's like, oh, Ryan, this is terrible for you. Like, I've half given up with it, to be honest with you. But Devin is the one that people should be feeling sorry for because he went through a very tough fight that could have really had a real physical effect on him. And this ain't a game. It's not a joke. You've got someone with that in their system. Whether he meant to take it or not, it was in there. And, now Devin is back undefeated. I had a conversation with his lawyer the night before the purse bid, and I said, I'd like to make the unification fight with Liam Paro. Let me know if that's possible with the WBC. Come back and we'll talk about the purse bid maybe. And they never called me back. He's not under contract with me. He doesn't want to do a long-term deal with a promoter. I guess he just maybe thought we were going to bid, but he's got his own promotional company, Devin Haney Promotions. They love to have a logo on the poster, but they don't want to lose any money. And the reason they didn't bid is because they didn't want to lose any money. So it's all irrelevant now because he's basically vacated the title. He's gone into recess, which means he'll look at other opportunities. And I would like to make the Liam Paro fight in Australia.
Oh, wow. So Liam versus Devin.
I think so. Devin's been out there twice. He beat Kambosos twice in Australia. The government there love to support big fights. It's a homecoming fight for Liam Paro. So there's an opportunity for Devin, but I don't think he wants to fight till the back end of the year. He's had a rough time, and he'll be back. He's a tremendous fighter and a good young man. But I think he's really had a lot to deal with, I think.
Okay, 2 last quick ones. Jake Paul, Mike Perry. You think Mike pulls it off? You think Mike? Are you familiar with Platinum Perry?
I've never seen Mike Perry fight. Isn't he a welterweight or something?
Well, he fought in the UFC at 170, but in bare knuckle, he's fought at 185, and this is a cruiserweight fight.
And what's the fight at?
Cruiserweight.
200 pounds?
Yes.
He's got absolutely no chance. I mean,
but he's a bare knuckle champion. He's the face of bare knuckle. Come on. Have you seen this guy bare knuckle?
Ariel, this is you told me Francis Ngannou was going to beat Anthony Joshua.
And I just said,
stop falling in love. Stop falling in love with your UFC fighters and let you know. But look, I don't know Mike Perry, but I know apparently he's a tough man. Obviously, he is a tough man.
Yeah.
So I wish him all the best. I actually bumped into Jake in Puerto Rico. It's quite funny.
Oh.
I was having dinner in the hotel that I was staying at. Is actually where he lives on the resort. And I was just having dinner, and I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around. It was Jake.
Wow.
So
how'd that go?
Yeah, it was all right. He seemed quite pleasant. Just had a little chat. Said you're welcome to the show tomorrow. And that was it, really.
So the hatchet's been buried.
I mean, we still got issues.
Oh, okay.
But I'm always open for a chat.
Was there any part of you that was feeling some kind of FOMO or not jealousy? Like when you saw Turkey and Dana very chummy over the past week, did you feel like, No,
I've been there. It's good to see, like, I've been in that house. I've been in that environment.
Right,
it's a special, like, it's a wild experience. It really is. I've been at dinners with His Excellency where sat next to me was Evander Holyfield there, AJ there, Duran there, Lennox Lewis there, Larry Holmes over there, Buffer, Ara. I mean, it's just every time I go to Riyadh, it's just the most amazing experience, and yeah, it's great times. I'm just enjoying life. I'm, like I said, Bam against Estrada this weekend. Can't wait. And yeah, may the good times continue to roll, my friend.
Amen. And good luck to England on Sunday. I know it's stressful times, but I liked what you had to say about getting behind the boys, the positivity. I saw that today.
I just don't understand it. It's like, there can be no good come from negativity and criticism, like of your national team. Like, you don't understand the positivity and the wave of support, how much that can lift people to perform. Like, and if that comes from your nation, like we won the group stages, right? We won the whole thing. We performed really poorly, really. I mean, not awful, but like nowhere near to our potential. But we won the group. And on Sunday, we got our knockout stage, right? So I said to, my interview today, we've got 3 days. Rally as a country. Let's get behind. Let's get really excited for Sunday. Let's light up a barbecue, right? And say, do you know what? We haven't played very well, but I bet we perform and we get it right in the knockout stages. Let's get behind the captain, get behind the manager, get behind the whole nation. And by the way, if we lose, we can have a good moaner, and we will. But until that point, like, I hate negativity. I hate glass half empty. What if we get it right in the knockout stages? What if we go on a run? What if we do it? What if we win the Euros? Not, oh, well, we ain't going to do that, are we? Who says? Shut up with your negativity.
Yeah.
Let's give it everything.
I love it. I love that we can apply that to our daily lives as well. UFC 303 is this weekend, but I will be watching Estrada Bam as well. But more importantly, I can't wait for the presser tomorrow. That's must-see TV to see the changes.
I'm under a lot of pressure now.
I want to see those changes.
Now.
Implement them and give me a shout out, all right? Thank you so much, Eddie.
I'll do my best.
Congrats on getting the big fight September 21st. Appreciate it.
Take care.
There he is, Eddie Hearn joining us. We got a lot of things done there. I thought we accomplished a lot. We spoke about a lot. We addressed a lot. We didn't quite get to the dress. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.